Hey guys, just back with another C# tutorial. So in this video we'll be going over a few more topics. So we'll talk about an access key. So an access key, also known as a mnemonic. So this is just in regards to the design window. There's a key that is pressed in combination with the Alt key to access a control such as a button quickly. So it's basically like a hotkey basically. I don't think we really need to talk about this that much. But for example, you can go into, so back on the screen here, sorry, you can go into the designer window, find like a button, get the bounding box up, and then find okay, so the way to actually, okay, maybe we might have to talk about this. So there's a special way to do it. So basically, so there might be a property. Actually, no, there isn't a property here. So there's a trick to do it. So you have to do it through the text property. So through the text property, you have to. So we'll just do some notes first, just to go over it quickly. So let's go for some more notes down here from continued from last time. So assigning keyboard access keys to buttons. So all you have to do, so let's talk about it a bit more actually. So when you assign an access key to a button, the user can trigger a click event either by clicking the button with the mouse or by using the access key or the hotkey. Some users prefer to use a keyboard. So we'll jot this down here. So we have, you assign an access key to a button through its text property. So you can say, so you can assume an app has a button text property which is set to exit, like the string basically exit. If you want to assign the access key, I believe you have to use Alt. If you want to assign the access key, so if you wish to, just go with the star comment next time. If you wish to assign the access key Alt plus X to the button, so that the user may trigger the button's click event by pressing Alt plus X, right, on the keyboard. So basically, to make this possible, or to do this, you have to basically type an ampersand, ampersand, so that's this and symbol, shift 7 on most keyboards. So shift 7 before, it's a little bit tricky, it's like I think it's in the second place. So we'll talk, it's kind of confusing. So type an ampersand before the letter X in this case. In the buttons text property. So thus, like basically like this. So E, for example, let's say you have the string property is exit, right? So it's like, so thus if the, so let's just say, sorry, not string property. So if the text property is like, if the text property is like this, without the quotes, pretend, because you just have it like that in the design window at least. So then in this case, then you change it to so text property should just be like E ampersand XIT, like that. So this goes in the properties window in the design so I'll just put this in comments in the properties window. Whoops, sorry. So the properties window, so what I'm talking about is here. So we just go here to text. So then we go E ampersand XIT. That should be it. Now when we run the app and when we hit, press Alt plus X on the keyboard, it'll close because our code for the exit button again is just to close. So this is from the Coin app that we created a few videos ago, so you can check that out if you want to see how it was created. So that's what you do, you just find the exit button. So sorry, when you run the app, this form is going to come up on your window, like on your screen as a window, and then press Alt plus X and the window should close. So obviously you could have set it to anything. You could have typed like, if this is 5 cent coin, you could have maybe perhaps done Alt plus 5 if that works. And every time you press Alt plus 5, when you press the keyboard Alt 5 when the app's running, then it should increase the total amount by 5 cents. You could have changed Alt plus D to dime, Alt plus Q to quarter, Alt plus half piece to half, or 50-cent piece, whatever. And you could have done it like that. So it's up to you. Hotkeys can be used if you need to, basically. If you need them, if you think your app needs them, you can use them. So a lot of the time, probably they won't even know what they are unless you tell them that the hotkey is that, for example, in like the settings of something. But I guess you would need them at some point, because for example, in this app, Rider is an app that works for Windows, so perhaps it was made with C# or something. There is hotkeys. There's a way to set hotkeys for other things within this own software itself. So eventually you might use them if you're creating something like that. So I think it's the second key, like how we did it. So over here we did E and %xit, so I think whatever text property you have, just go for the second property, I think. The docs just mentioned this example. I'm guessing it's the second key, so I'll just say that down here if it doesn't lag. Sorry, it's not letting me type anything. One sec here. Nope, not that. Okay, so basically the ampersand should most likely go in the second, or in index 1 of the string. Because remember, string index starts at 0 if we haven't talked about it. Then ampersand goes in index 1. So I believe should be the case. Maybe just a little bit more on this. Although the ampersand is part of the button controls text property, it's not displayed on the button, so that's another point that notice how the text property of the actual text didn't change to E and %xit because it's a special trick basically. It's just a trick to set the hotkey. It doesn't actually change the text property of the exit button. In this case, exit still says EXIT instead of E and %xit, if that makes sense. So with the ampersand in front of the letter X, the letter will appear underlined as shown. Okay, so there should be an underline under X, which there is, so that just means that X is a hotkey that you use with the alt key, I believe. So in this case, yeah, X. So I never knew that. Don't think a lot of people would actually know that when they're using Windows apps. Like, I never knew that till I read this. No one reads the C# documents to use a Windows PC, right? Only a very few % of people actually become computer scientists or whatever. Maybe 1% or less, who knows? Not even that. But anyways, I never knew that, but now you know. And if you have a Windows app, whatever's underlined in the text property is probably a alt hotkey. So underline part of visual form design string, underline part of visual form design string text property is the hotkey. So in this case, X is the hotkey, or access key, because it is underlined. Okay. So this indicates that the button may be clicked by pressing Alt plus X on the keyboard. You will see the underlining at design time, but at runtime, the underlining may not appear until the user presses the Alt key. So this appears at design time, but perhaps not at runtime until user presses the hotkey, or the access key. So yeah, you may not always see the hotkey if there is one in a Windows app as well, so that can be even more confusing. But now you know. Access keys do not distinguish between uppercase and lowercase characters. So that means it's not case sensitive. Alt plus lowercase x and alt plus uppercase x is going to be the same thing. Okay, so I think I kind of found the true way how the ampersand works. Okay, so I might have to change some of these notes. This is wrong here. So apologize for that. It's not. I think it's not index 1. Okay, so I have the docs put it at the end, so that's kind of dumb, but that's fine. So we'll just discuss that again. So we have so let's say we store the val ampersand. I guess it's the text property in this case. Text property ampersand exit in the buttons text property. So the ampersand is in front of the letter E, which is uppercase, thus alt plus E, or lowercase as we said, is the access key. Okay, so it's whatever. Okay, so it's whatever's in front, I guess in this case that means whatever character is in front of the ampersand. We'll just go with the symbol ampersand. That is the access key, access/hotkey. So yeah, so if the ampersand goes in front of the X, the hotkey is X. If the ampersand goes before the I, then the hotkey is I. If the ampersand goes in front of the T, then the hotkey is T, or the access key is T. Sorry for the confusion on that. So assigning the same access key to multiple buttons. So be careful not to assign the same access key to 2 or more buttons on the same form. If 2 or more buttons share the same access key, a click event is triggered for the first button created when the user presses the access key. So if you have an access key for 2 different buttons, for example, whichever was created first in this case, that goes in with the, what do we call that, tab index. I guess in that case, whichever is first in the tab index for whichever, basically the buttons that, or the controls that share the same access key, whichever was first in the tab index, or whichever was created first will be the actual control that's triggered when you press the access key. So if you wanted to actually display the AND character on a button with the ampersand symbol, use 2 ampersands in the text property. So using 2 ampersands causes a single ampersand to display and does not define an access key. So in this case, just final notes on this. Actually, wait. Second last final note. So if we have, you might get tested on this. I mean, it's kind of just to do with the design property, design window. You might, depends on your professor. I don't even like that design window that much, to be honest. Sometimes you need to know how to use it though, I guess. Perhaps in the more professional environment you may need to use it if you have to. But so let's just say we have So if you want to display, so as we said, if you want to display an actual ampersand, so let's just say button text property is set to, or let's just say button's text property is save and exit. Thus the button will appear, or button will look like basically pretend this is a button, but it'll just look like save and exit. So no actual hotkey will be used in this case. So accept buttons and cancel buttons. An accept button is a button on a form that is automatically clicked when the user presses the enter key. You perhaps have seen this before, like you've tried to hit enter on something on a form on a PC. So cancel should be the escape button. So accept, which is like okay or something. So let's just say accept button on a form is triggered with the enter key. Cancel button on a form is triggered with the escape key. It's actually capital ESC. Enter, I think, has an actual capital E on it. If you look at your keyboard, I think, no, maybe perhaps not every, maybe every keyword actually. Maybe not. But just remember these are keys, so we'll just kind of put them in a little array box or something. Okay, so that's fine. So forms have two properties, an accept button and cancel button. So let's just find the form here. Click on the black space. Oops. Accept button. Okay, well, none. That's weird. Normally it should be the enter key and escape key. But I guess in this case we really don't have. So this can be kind of confusing. But generally forms will have, like, because in this case we just have one button, right? We don't have a close and a OK, something like that. But generally, just remember that enter is accept, ESC, escape is cancel. So forms have two properties, accept button and cancel button, which allow you to designate an accept button and a cancel button when you select. Okay, so they have properties. Perhaps you can set them if you want. They may be set to none, as they are now by default. When you select these properties in the properties window, a down arrow button appears, which displays a drop-down list when clicked. The list contains the names of all the buttons on the form. You select the button that you want to designate as the accept button or the cancel button. Any button that is frequently clicked should probably be selected as the accept button. This will allow keyboard users to access the button quickly. Exit or cancel buttons are likely candidates to become cancel buttons. Okay, so there's basically, if that makes sense, by default, they're on the forms properties itself. There's a accept button as a default property, which is set to none, and a cancel button, which is set to none. So you can choose how you want to set those, and we'll do it in code later on. Alright, so that'll probably just end the video about access keys in this case. Keyboard access keys, which you may need at some point. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys like the video, you can like and subscribe to the channel to support the channel for more investing and trading and coding videos. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.